Oh my god. It happened. God. I knew it. Good day there, once again viewers, this is your mate Kamikaze78 here, come to you guys with some more Planetside 2 content. So guys, it's that time once again, the time where Cammy begins to question his life purpose and life decisions to the point where he starts talking to himself in the third person. We're of course talking about the Time to Gear Up series, and you guys know the drill at this point. This is the series where I take comment suggestions from you guys as to what loadouts I should use in game, with the general theme here being dumb loadouts that are about as far from effective as I am from sanity, but in the end of the day, the highest rated loadout suggestions by you guys will be chosen for the next episode. Today we are embracing my inner NC with the Chonk Boy loadout, coming at us from good mate GoblinRum, which is an NC heavy assault loadout. Let's just say that some weapons locks, stupidity, and overall chonkiness are on the menu here on this fine day. Seriously, I have spotlighted some classes in this series in the past that were absolute units. This one just may take the cake though, and I mean that quite literally, considering that playing this kit made me feel as though I was cosplaying as a dude that learnt nothing from Super Size Me. Let's get straight into it, guys. And look, if we were going to live up to the name of Chonk Boy, well, there are only really 3 weapons available to an NC Heavy Assault I could think of that would really get us there. The Jackhammer, the Gauss Saw, or the Thumper. And that's the weapon we're running with today. Because hey, if I'm going to be Lord Chungus of the battlefield, I may as well live up to the name with one chonky weapon. And just because this particular chunk wants to double down on explosives and just wants to cause as much chaos as possible, both friend and foe alike, we're running things like, oh, you guessed it, the Hunter QCX with explosive bolts, the Decimator rocket launcher, the Grenade Bandolier sporting a total of 4 grenades, because, you know, fuck anyone and everyone in that general direction. What direction, I hear you asking? I don't know, whichever way you're looking, or whichever way your grenades decide to bounce. You know, but seriously, this is a loadout built for damage saturation and just gunning down any threat you possibly can with an absurd amount of explosive matter. Oh, and just because we're looking for added insult to injury, let's run C4 while we're at it. Because if that pesky max suit comes along, it helps to be able to just delete him from existence too. There's something that's just a bit too satisfying, making max suits question their existence, and their choice of nanite investment. Is that bad taste, considering we just did a video on the max suit? I don't know, probably. But hey, I had to show them who the real big chunk of Araxis truly was, okay? I had to really make a stance there. I should also clarify that I did have the choice to run medkits here instead, but as tempting as it was, I thought to myself, what would the Chonk himself do? And, well, that pretty much solved the question right there real fast. Anyway, in addition to that, we're running the good old Adrenaline Shield on the kit because Big Chungus here has a lot of mass to protect. So he needs a shield that is clearly going to keep on going with his total disregard for life as he coats an area in explosive damage. He needs something that's going to last him the time. The Adrenaline Shield will do that in theory. And look, Chonk is going to move a little slower than most thanks to the use of the heavyweight and response jacket implants. So having a little extra protection for when he needs it most to cross those open spaces is going to be pretty important. Wrapping up Big Chonk's loadout here is the Amaterasu because, well, he ain't exactly going to close the distance anytime soon, so having a knife that can at least have some range will be quite handy here as well. And, you know, maybe Chonk wants to get a little more surgical. He has that option there as well. We're also running the Ordnance Dampener to further chonk ourselves up in defensive situations, even from our own happy little accidents with the Thumper. So that there is the loadout we're running, and say you want to get layered up and act like the pseudo-juggernaut of Araxis that doesn't cost you nanites to pull out of the gate, then this is going to set you back anywhere between 4,450 certs all the way up to 8,030 certs in total. So yeah, be ready to take out a small loan here to live up to the lifestyle of the Chonk, as this is up there with some of the most expensive loadouts I've ever run on the channel. And look, if you really want to go the whole 9 yards, you really need to get yourself a chonky piece of armor as well. I'm running the Nomad Armor set here on my heavy assault, and I think it really just, you know, sets the tone. You know, it makes enemies say, oh lord, he coming, as they see me running towards them with this big old thumper. But GoblinRum was not done there. Old mate gave us a few pointers as to how the Chonk of Planetside operates. More specifically, how he views the inferior small boys of Araxis if they stand in his way. No matter what faction they happen to be on, GoblinRum states, you would have to launch as many explosives as you can in any direction you see an enemy, no regard for friendlies or yourself. This NC man has been infatuated with NS technology and explosives, leaving his battle loadouts to be all explosives. This fanatic absolutely loves getting that rush of adrenaline from lobbing explosives across the battlefield, and his love for explosives has erased any regard for teammates. Have fun getting weapons locked in 5 minutes. Oh, and don't forget, this man is just Big Chonk as he moves at a fraction of his original speed. And yes, to clear the air here, what you saw in the intro was true. That was a weapons lock, and it took me way less time to get there than I would care to admit. But it did confirm one thing while using this loadout. It was very much all about shoot first, ask questions later. The amount of times that I would fire my thumper only to then say, oh, there was a friendly there, as I walked over his corpse that was missing a hip courtesy of my thumper shot, was a little too common for my own liking. And to that I say, if you were on the receiving end of my shenanigans during the filming of this and you were on the NC at the time, I am truly sorry. But regardless, there was one aspect of the loadout in particular that drove me up the wall. The fucking movement speed. Never before have I used a loadout where I felt like I was playing as a max suit without actually pulling one, but this loadout takes the cake in that regard. To add it all up, you have the thumper, which adds a passive 10% reduction to your movement speed, and then we add on the heavyweight implant, which adds an additional 10% reduction. And then get this, whenever you want to use the adrenaline shield on top of all that, you're looking at a goddamn 25% movement speed decrease on top of that. So effectively, you move at just over half the speed of everyone else on the battlefield. So if someone started shooting at me from a flank that I didn't expect, there was no dodging and weaving here. It was just a matter of accepting my death and then walking towards the light, essentially. But then there was also the fun of actually running back to the fight off of the closest spawn point. Seriously, every time I died, I contemplated picking up the nearest available book, because chances are that my potentially dyslexic ass would have a chance to finish that damn book before my chunk of a character would even get close enough to the fight to warrant any kind of attention to the screen from myself. Hell, there was a chance the fight would have finished by the time I got back to the fight. It may have even started again a couple days later. That's how slow it felt. But in saying that, when I got into a solid position with the class and was able just to unleash all of my ordnance, my god, was it something special. Being able to fling a goddamn rain of hellfire on the poor bastards below was just so damn satisfying. And there were a few occasions where I was able to quickly dismantle a squad that was traveling close together. As long as I was able to get the jump on people, I was able to get kills. But if they caught my well-built ass off guard, well, it was basically game over. What I will say is that this was the first time in a while that I had run the thumper as a primary weapon, and if anything, it kind of reminded me how much I feel the thumper is out of place being a primary weapon. I still kind of feel as though the weapon belongs in the tool slot, along with the rocket launchers in the game, allowing a heavy assault to tailor a loadout towards either being an anti-vehicle tailored class or an anti-infantry crowd control tailored class. But that's just me and some thoughts on the weapon as a whole. But guys, with all that said, that's going to conclude up today's video of Time to Gear Up. I really had a lot of fun using this kit. It was a total shambles, and there was a lot of fun to be had, but I really do feel sorry for all of the NC that happened to be in the same hex that I was when I was filming this video. There was a lot of team killing to be had here, and again, I do send my sincere apologies to those who are on the receiving end of that. If you guys did find yourself enjoying the video, be sure to backhand that like button. It lets me know that you guys are enjoying it and you want to see more of this series. In addition to that, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed the video, be sure to backhand that subscribe button and turn on notifications while you're at it to keep up to date with all the future videos we release here as well. As always guys, you can find my social media links like my Twitter, Twitch, and Discord, all linked in the description down below, and I definitely recommend go joining those social medias because it gives you guys more more updates, as well as more content to enjoy. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.